Montreal has some amazing interior design. This place we're in right now is a great example. This is Buvette chez Simon on Park Avenue. And with its custom-made tables, its horseshoe bar, and its unique lighting, it's no surprise Montrealers are looking at this kind of aesthetic for their homes and apartments. What's surprising is a lot of this stuff comes from scrap yards, comes from vintage shops. We've asked Zébulon Perron, one of Montreal's most sought-after designers, to take us to some of the work that he's done around town and to some of the spots where he finds the pieces that give places like this their particular edge. Buvette chez Simon, it has the reputation of bringing nightlife back to Park Avenue. How did you draw people in here?
The idea for Buvette was to take the wine bar and make it a lot more casual. And the way we laid out the space is conducive to people that don't necessarily know each other, kind of like interacting, talking.
So when we look at these tables, this is a perfect example. These tables are sort of designed that maybe you sit two groups of people. These lights as well.
So that, like, they're hung very low, so you want people to kind of like gather around something.
It's like that primitive man gathering around the fire kind of thing, as close as you can get to the light source.
Then the way it's finished, you know, in this case, we used a lot of recycled materials and stuff, vintage furniture. And that gives it a feel of like lived in. There's something very kind of like comforting about that. The other part is really about like custom-made stuff.
That's very cool. There's a lot of people out there who are looking for some tips on how to kind of separate the good stuff from the bad stuff when you're out looking for salvage material. And I was wondering, how do you feel if we go to a spot and you show me the good and the bad?
We're gonna have to go to the dark side.
We are going past the dark side. In fact, we're heading straight across the bad side of the tracks to find the good stuff.
We are in an undisclosed location somewhere in the southwest of Montreal, in the basement of an industrial building. This is what you were talking about. This is off the map. This one's off the grid.
Yeah, this is where when we go deep.
We go deep. We're not coming back up.
Yeah.
In this place, I don't know what half of this stuff is.
There's hair salon stuff, and then there's industrial grade electrical material. And then there's like medical equipment.
I would like to live in a world where this was still like a computing machine. Beep, boop, beep, beep, boop, boop, beep. Let's take a look around.
Yeah, this is like the torture chamber. This is where it starts getting scary, like that room, like, I don't know. Well, you see, like, this is like a good example of something we can use, like the interior of a tanning bed. I can make a lamp out of it with interesting reflective properties. It's gotta be hard to be copied. You know, if it's too easy, then there's something wrong with it. There's gotta be an effort. And there's gotta be like, you know, if you don't do that, then, you know, I don't
What's the point?
Yeah, I don't see what the point is.
Yeah.
Like, you see, like, operation lamps, like, with something that's articulated and has...
It has like an elbow and like
it looks like it's alive a bit. It's like quirky, but at the same time, like off-putting, you know? So it's like, you don't want to be like vanilla. If you're gonna like invest in design, you probably want to have something that's unique, you know, something that can't be copied, something that will create interest.
One of the hotspots Zébulon designed, Grinder, is in the heart of Griffintown. Here's where some of the material that he salvaged is magically transformed.
We saw some rough material over at the undisclosed location, and now we're looking at the after. I mean, it's really amazing.
In this case, like, we had to bring these to like an auto body shop. We got them painted, so you have to kind of ship them over there, bring them back, figure out a way to install them. It needs to be a bit laborious to get the result that you're not going to see anywhere else.
This is sort of obvious salvage that happened, but there's some other salvage pieces in here that are a little bit more subtle.
Grinder space is actually unique. It's an old stable. What we did when we came in is expose the original structure. Normally, like in this kind of setting, you would have kind of like a more rustic approach. And this is something that we didn't want to do. We wanted to do the exact opposite, is like to make it into a modern eatery to cater to the new crowd that's like coming into Griffintown.
I mean, that's such an amazing idea. I got these surgical lamps, and I got 60 chairs from the 60s in perfect condition.
There's a lot of accident in evolution, you know, and that's actually really true about the design process. Sometimes trying to circumvent a problem, you get to a much better result.
These days, Zébulon Perron has crossed the lines of simply designing Montreal's hotspots to opening them. Our last stop, Bar Furco. It's co-owned by Zébulon, along with some of his past clients.
So what was the idea?
When we found this space, it kind of looked like a blockbuster video. Right. A big part of like the process of design here was actually more like selective demolition and stripping. We had this idea of what like a spot would be, let's say in East Berlin. You know, the driving thing, like creatively, for me, is really like, it's really about the people I'm working with.
Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you,
time.
sir.
So I'm gonna boil it down to 3 things. Design is a personal thing, design is an emotional thing, and design is an important thing. That's fair?
All right, let's drink to that.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, all right.